That means what? Depending on this component activity, means whatever the component you are adding, depending on the component activity, your next job will be executed. Next flow will be executed. So if the component is successfully executed, that is called on component OK. So otherwise, if there is any error on the component, you will be getting on component error. So on component error, you'll be getting, to get to log the error activity. But if it is successfully completed, the component activity, then you want to go to the next step. That is for on component OK. Similarly, let us consider the entire. So the entire design, what we can call it as a job, right? So here, if you go back to my previous job, so here two job I have defined. So we can create one sub job. In one job activity, we have created two sub job here. So it may happen that I want that first this total complete job will be executed, then this job will be executed. Because why this is my ask? Because the first the output table, that YOLO trip zone table, will be created. Then on the basis of this data of the table, I want to execute next job, right? Next task. So that's why two sub job I have designed in the same job project. Okay. So in this case, what we can do, we can create a dependency. We can create a dependency that first this job will be executed, and if this sub job will be executed properly, completed successfully, then only my next job will be executed. That kind of flow we can design. So this is called what? One sub job OK. One sub job OK means if you want to design this one, you can, if you click, this job will be executed successfully, then only next job will be executed. Similarly, we have on sub job error also. So now from which component I want to bring the, I have to create the flow. I have to connect the sub job. We have to select the first component of the sub job. What is my first component here? YOLO trip base. So I can right click and I can get different component here. You check under this trigger. So we have on sub job OK, on sub job error. That means what? If the entire sub job is executed, so that will be coming of the trigger of on sub job OK. If there is any error in the sub job, it will be triggered on sub job error flow. Similarly, for a particular component, so if we think about the component activity, only this TDB, TMySQL input component activity. If this component successfully executed, then it will trigger this event on component OK. If there is any error on component error, or if you want to display, I mean, if you want to execute some conditional flow, you can use a run if. Okay, so that is the meaning. So in the Word, I have given some example here. You please check. In a to complete job design, you have this job. So you check, this is sub job 1. This is just only one activity, one component is there, but it is separate from this job. So it is on sub job 2. It is sub job 2. Next coming sub job 3. Next one. Now, what is the design? If my sub job 1 is executed, I want what? Sub job 1 is executed means what? T file list, T file input delimited, and T log row. So there is another flow you check. If T log row completely executed, that only the T Java 1 will be executed, because it's a on component OK. If this log row is successfully executed, the component is successfully executed, then the T Java it will be executed after that, because it's related with on component OK. And you can check this sub job 1 and sub job 2 in the same level, and you can see sub job 2 is dependent on some component of sub job 1. That's why now come to the next job in the sub job 3. What the relation what the flow connection we are doing on sub job OK. That means if the previous sub job executed successfully, then only my sub job 3 will be started execution. Right? But when I'm talking about previous sub job, what does it mean? Does it mean the sub job 1? Or does it mean the sub job 2? but it will be combination of subjob 1 and subjob 2. Why? Because not only it is subjob 1, but subjob 2 also dependent on the subjob 1. That's why subjob 3 will be executed only when entire subjob 1 and subjob 2 would be executed. And according to this design, right? So now the question is, from which component we have to make the connection for on subjob OK? The very first component of your subjob design. You have to drag it from the very first component of the subjob. So here the T file list 1 is my first component. From here we have to drag it like this. Similarly, if we go back my previous design, if you want to design that, first my entire subjob 1 will be executed, this one. First the YOLO trip zone table will be created. Then only I want to execute this subjob. So in this case, what is my first component? YOLO trip base table. Because those are lookup dependent on that. So right click on that trigger on subjob OK. Coming back here. So let me move it so that you can understand this. Yeah. So that means if my previous job is executed, then only my next job will be executed. Okay, there is no on component relationship so far, right? I'll show it. What is on component relationship? It's a on subjob OK relationship. Is it okay? Can you follow this document? What is on subjob OK, on subjob error, and what is subjob relationship? What is on component OK, on component error? On component will be triggered when it will be specific to a component, and on subjob will be triggered where it will be specific to a particular complete subjob. Any clarification is required? Any more understanding? Any input? Because this may be required if you create the dependency on the job. Is it okay for you? Okay, so see, now let me run this job. I am using this one. Let me run this job and check this flow. So run. You check. First, the entire subjob will be executed. Yeah. Then it is clicking on OK. It is showing OK. OK means what? The subjob will be has been executed properly. Then it is coming to here. Okay. Just to simulate this example on subjob error, let me show you how we can do this on subjob error. So let me clear it. Coming back to design, table design. What I want to do? Only create table. Only create table. So as the table is already created, right? Already created. So it will show me the error. It should show. Let us check. What I did, action on the table of destination table, I have changed it. It is create table. Create table means what? If the normally, if there is a table is already created, if you want to create the table, you will be getting some error from the database, as you know, right? So that's why normally what we'll do, we'll select this one to avoid the error. Create table if does not exist. But what I'm doing right now, create table. Create table, it will try to create the table. If it is there, we should get an error. So in that case, what I want to do, just for showing. T log row I'm creating. And here do trigger on sub job error. Oh, no, it will not be coming actually. We need a job actually. Uh, Let me execute it. Otherwise, we have to write a Java component. On sub job error, we have to write a separate job here to get the error. Okay, let me show you this one at least. Now save it, run it. Yeah, we are getting the error here. Error. So it has not been executed. It has not been executed. Okay, we are getting the error and here. So we'll check the error handling and we'll check here. We are getting the error here. This thing already exists. So that's why now it is on sub job. Okay, is not being executed. Okay, coming back to this one. What we are doing? Drop and create table. Same. Clear it. Run it. Now we are getting our output here. Can you follow it? This example on sub job. Okay. Okay. Now, yeah, thank you. So here the documentation is there, and maybe business application will be using different times because there may be some dependent job, right? You will be creating one output file, and depending on the file, the next activity you'll be doing next job. In that case, you can create the on sub job OK relationship. And on sub job error, yeah, you can use some T Java component. I don't have the ready example, but I'll be showing you when you'll be handling the error, uh, error handling, how to handle the different kind of error over there. Now here we have done it. So that example is done. Now I want to extend, modify this example to run. I'm to show you how we can run sub job as a child job. I repeat, how we can run a sub job as a child job. Okay, so for that, the entire complex design. So maybe this is very simplest design I have done. So in your business application, you'll be running, you'll be designing very complex workflow or a data flow, but you want to encapsulate to some container, and that your entire data flow design, your entire sub job will be executed within the container. So that means entire sub job will be treated as a child job. Your container will be treated as a parent job. So how we can implement it? Let me show you. So what I am doing here, I am just copying and pasting the same job. So it is what? YOLO tip 2. Right click, copy and paste it in here. Paste. 2 times I am pasting it. So coming to here we have you check. 2 copy is there. copy and copy one. I'm renaming this one. Edit properties. I'm giving the name 2_1. We can give the meaningful name, create YOLO trip zone table, right? Something like that. I'm not giving, just for simplicity. Here, finish. Okay, similarly, here, right click properties. Here 2_2. Finish. Now I'm closing this one and I am opening this analysis 2_1. I'm deleting this relationship and deleting this sub job. So here I have only one sub job, one job actually, where I'm creating YOLO trip zone table. Saving it. Coming back to here. Double click on this. Here what I'm doing, I am deleting the previous sub job and I am keeping here only. This one. Saving it. Okay. So now what we'll do, I want to create another job. Let me check what is the name I have given. Okay. Here, a run job example. Right click, create job. Finish. Here. So here we need to import a two component, same component, T run job. T run job. Two run job will be two T run job component will be there. So where from this component we can call one sub job. We can call another job which will be treated as child job. So entire complex design you are not going to show here so to display here. Just you can encapsulate the entire job using the T run job component. So what I'm doing, I'm giving a name here. So name is create solo trip on table. And here, this one. Use YOLO zone table. Now I need to configure it. So what I'm doing, right click, row, sorry, trigger on sub job bouquet, this one. And within this tree run job, which sub job I want to run, here you check job. You can click on this one. Which job I have to run it? YOLO trip analysis, data analysis 2_1. So if you want to pass any parameter, you can pass it. Right now, I'm not passing any parameter. Job is this. And then which sub job you want to run here? Click on this. And I want to use YOLO trip data analysis 2_2. So we are done. So now you check. So if you want to run it in different thread model, this job, coming back to, so you don't select anything, just click on the design view. Coming back to job run example here, extra. You can use a multi-thread execution here. So if you want to give the customized number of thread, just uncheck it. Otherwise, it will set the project setting. So what I'm doing here, I'm not using it. Use the project setting. Use project setting to, otherwise, if you want to use some context load, implicit context load, you can, disable this one. If you want to use multiple thread execution, you can click on this. So I'm not doing anything here. Or if you click also, it will be executed a bit faster with the multiple thread. Okay, so coming back to our run, let us check, run it. Yes, we're getting the output. We're getting the output from here. Okay, so now the thing is what we have encapsulated. So here, whatever the job we are running here, right? You can double click and you come to the component view. So you are running as a child job within that. So if you double click on that, it will open the sub job, which is mapped by this trun job. Similarly, if you double click here, it will open that sub job design, which is mapped by this run job component. So please check here, entire complex design, it has been encapsulated by this only one component, this one, and you are running, you are calling that sub job as a child job within the trun component. So trun component will be, one of the main, I think, main component in your business scenario where, your total complex design will be encapsulated from this one, from the in a container, from this trun job container. Can you follow it? Trun job. Okay. Now next. Here. Now next one. How to build, export and test run jobs outside the studio. So without Talent Studio, I want to run this. I want to run this job, right? So already you check how we can do it. So already we have designed some job and we are calling those job as a sub job, a child job using the T run job. Okay. Now what I'll do, I'll deploy this job and to create a package because this is my complete job and I want to create a package for this. Package for this. Okay. So what I'll do here, give me one second. So run job example, right click on this. Let me go to see talent data. Yeah, it's okay. So right click on this, build job. Okay. So yeah, where I want to archive it, let's consider this is the example. This is the location talent dataset. I want to archive it. You can give the version name. So it will be select the build type, standalone job. Okay. You can after doing the job creation deploy it, you can extract it, but we can extract ourselves also manually. We can extract. What type of job you want to create? The cell launcher, whether it will be Linux based or Windows based. Let me create for all platform, both Linux and mm, for Linux and Windows. Context script or anything. Right now we don't have any context variables, so it's fine. We are not using any configuration here. Finish. Okay, so let me go to that one. So here you can check run job example is there. Right click and to extract to T run job example. Now if we open it, so you can check these are the files and folders will be created. In the lib we will be having the libraries which is required to run this, and then here within that folder you will be getting all related dependent file. So you can check from here. This is the batch file for running in Windows. This is the PowerShell Windows PowerShell file that you can run on Windows, and this is the this one. This is the script. I mean running in SH, and these are the executable jar file for two different job. Okay. Now let us check about this one because this is my Windows batch file. So I am clicking on that and CMD here. Now if we check dir, it is there. Now I have to run the batch file, right? This one. Just I'm clicking on that because we don't have any parameter. So no need to pass any parameter right now. Yes, we are getting the output. We are getting the output here. Can you follow? If you open the PowerShell, let me, I have not tried yet. Let me check it. But I think yes, 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 yes. I'll show you context variable with respect to some connectivity. I'll show you the context variable right now after this. So in the shell script, you can write, you can run the sh file. It will be executed. But these are, I think there is some dependency. I have not tried the jar. Let me check it actually. How it is done. No, it requires the class CP and all this class path. It requires some dependency, I think. Okay, I'll check sometime how to deploy the jar, but the batch and PS1 and SH is file complete actually to run the job. But I think in your enterprise edition, the menu may be different. You can check it how to deploy it. This is Open Studio. That is the menu we are getting. So we have checked it right now, how to run the job without the Talend Studio. Here is the documentation. Even there is, some component here, T system, where you can run this one. You can run the inter batch file, right? T run system, T system underscore one, T system, that is a component. You can run it. Let me show you just for execution. Coming back to here, let me deactivate it. And if you do T system, in this case, you can configure like this way, single comment. And so here, what we can do, we can check the location. Then we need to give, I think it is required the front slash. Yeah, front slash, and let me check the name, that is the batch file. Slash this one. I need to change the T system. You can run some command line, command. Okay, so here save it and let me run it whether. Yeah, it is showing the output. So any system command you can run using the T system. Just for this one, I explored this thing. That's why I've saved. Okay, you can check here the Java, this one. Java example training. This is the big comment for Java they're using. Okay. Okay, coming back. Now coming to using context variable. Okay, using the context variable. So let's use how to create the context variable. So I want to accept the value dynamically during runtime, right? And for this, I am using database connectivity information like, host name, database server name, username, password, correct, and table name, right? A port name we are using. I'm trying to show that example that dynamically those information I'll be accepting. Okay, so let me check. So what are the parameter? What are the variables parameter I want to accept? DB name, DB username, name, database username, password, database server, and port. So let us create this context. So next example, we are going to create and use context variable, which will help us to accept the value dynamically during runtime of the job. Okay, coming back here. So right click on the context, create context group. What is the name I have given here? DB property. So I'm giving here DB property, database property. Next. So what are the fields I want to create? DB name, DB server, DB username, DB port, and then is password. So here DB server, DB user, DB password. It will be password type. That it is. And here it is DB port. And if you want to accept the input and to get the message, click on that here. Click on any of the checkbox and select all this checkbox if you want to get the name. By default, for DB server, I want to give a default value, localhost. And for this one, for port 3306. So the message I want to customize, enter database name. So similarly, enter database server name. We host user login, user password, database port. Now here you check. So the in a business scenario, what will happen actually? You may have different environment, right? You may have test, dev, and prod or other environment also, and depending on that, you want to set the variables. Okay, you want to set the context variable. So this here check, you have default context environment here. Now I want to add another context, just like for example, new, that is prod environment. Okay. Okay, default is you have selected default, or you can select a prod environment also. I am just clicking on OK. So you have two context here you are getting, prod and this. Okay, and for prod, if you select prod, actually this is the prod. Okay, for prod you can select different default value for DB server. Okay, so it will be giving you this one. It will be giving you the message. Okay, so you have to set the context. You have to set the context for different environment, whether it's a prod, dev, test, like this. So you can create the different context, and your variable will be associated with the context, because depending on the environment, your this parameter value may be changed. So I'm just doing the finish. Okay, I have created this context DB property. Now coming back to my, let me check whether I'll be creating another job or not. Let me check. Okay. Coming back here. So I am creating a copy of this my job. I'm creating a copy of this job. So this is the copy. I am changing the name, edit properties. Now I'm giving context where example. Giving context where example one. Finish. So I'm opening this one. So if you want to create, coming back to this design, so coming back to context tab, if you want to create the local context variable, we can create it locally here. We can do this. How? I'm just giving the example. Plus here is DB server, add this is database name, DB name, and this is, I'm just using port, DB port. This is local to this job only, and it is stream and all this thing. I'm not giving any default value, but I want to accept the input from the user. Okay. Now I'm not creating any new context over there, so it will be local. Now I have created this context variable and I want to use it in my job. So where is my database connection here? Now what I'll do here, so I want to change what are the variables I have used. Only three: database server, database name, and database port. So coming back to the component, so host name. Yeah, I want to change it to built-in because it is coming from the repository. Okay. Now I want to change it. What should we write? Just type context control space. So I want to get DB server. Port also con control space DB port. And here what I'll do, context on control space database DB name. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So now we have to save it. Let me done. So what I have done locally, I have added three context variable, and because I am to take the input at the runtime, and here I have to modify as per the property. I have to give the variable name. Now let me run it. So it is asking the parameter values. DB server, localhost, database name, nice taxi DW, and the port 3306. Okay. we are getting the output. We are getting the output. Hi all, can you follow this example? I'll be extending this example. Hi all, are others are there?
Yes, yes.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Sometimes I'll be calling you, please, because it's a virtual, right? So here the context variable is local to this job, right? So it may happen that the same context variable I want to use in different job. So that's why obviously I have to create in repository that I have already created here. Correct? DB property I have created here. Now let me check how we can add it. Coming back to component. Sorry. Coming back to context. I'm deleting all this, variable. I've deleted. Now what I'm doing, I am dragging this context variable here, whatever I have created in the left hand side, dragging it and dropping it here. So it is automatically coming. OK, it is populated here. Now you please check here. We are getting 2 and you may check in the below of this window. What is the default context variable? So normally in my case, both values are same, right? But in your case, it may be different. For prod, it may be, your database server will be different, port will be different, maybe your username password will be different. So how to set it? You can set it default is prod or default is default. In my case, different context you can set. OK, if we set it, now what we need to do? Coming back here, what are the parameters? All the parameters are there. So let me check it here. Again, let me check it. Again, you have to do same thing. Context. That will be what? Database server. DB port, DB name. It's OK. I mean, all are same. But the username we have to give. DB user. And the password you have to give here. Password. OK. So in this case, for all 5 field, we have set the parameter. Let us run it. Let us run it. Now it is asking all these 5 parameter. So default value already, it is already put in our text box. So database name. User login root. Obviously the password you check root. And the port is this. See, we are getting the output. We are getting the output. OK, so this was what creating global context, and you can reuse that context variable here for any job. Even if you require for you need to create a context variable specific to the job, you can come back to context tab and you can create it. OK, that is the use of context variable. Now I'll be extending it. So we'll be checking how to pass, because it's a graphical user interface. We are passing, but how to pass the variable value during run, I mean during the deployment, means just like we have used at command line when we are executing, how to pass this variable value, because that will be the actual mode maybe for the execution, right? You are running from the command mode or something like that, the job. Okay, let me check the document. So from global context, we have done it. Now let me show you how to pass it in command line. Coming back to my design, clearing that output, and I'm creating a job, deploy it. Right click, deploy, build the job. Yeah, that will be context variable example name, finish. Okay, now let us come back to the folder here, Talend dataset. To check context variable example is created. Now right click, extract to this. Coming back to this folder. Okay. Now I want to run this batch file, context var example. So CMD is created. Any other CMD? So this will be the syntax. Context var example run dot batch. So here next hyphen context. What context variable you want to set? The environment actually. So here it's my default for me. Then we have to give this parameter value using hyphen context param, context underscore param, parameter name, parameter value. Hyphen context, parameter name, parameter value, and hyphen context param db port, this one. So we need more on that. So what I'll do here, context param db user, it will be root, but here in the command line it will be exposed the root actually. DB password. It will be root. Let me check whether my design is fine or not. What are the parameters are there? DB password, DB root, and all these things. Okay. And what is the name, by the way? And the name is dir context var example 1. That is C is capital. So let us run it. I hope all syntax is okay. Yes, we are getting the data. So what is the comment? Comment is like this, better to see from the what file. So you can check. This is what this is actually. I have to use hyphen context, the option argument for setting the environment, whether it's a default, prod, test or dev. Then how to pass the parameter. So there is an option actually you have to use hyphen context underscore param. Then the parameter name, I mean context variable name equal to the value. Similarly, whatever the number of parameters are there, you have to use the equal number of context param and you have to pass the value with it. Then you can run it in the command line without the Talend Studio. So dynamically, how you can assign a value to context variable. This one example, right? So now you check the password. Password becomes visible, right, to the people. So another way, I'm not going to show you the encryption of the password that you have to think of the logic. But now another extension, how we can, set the context variable. Okay, how we can set the context variable. So let me show you. You can load the context variable value either from database or from a file. Okay. So for that you may have, different context variable file for different environment. Let me show you one example how you can load the context variable value from a file. In that case, your password may be bit protected, but still I am not using any example that will be encrypt your password. That you have to think logic yourself, or you can use other component to encrypt it, or some Java program to encrypt your password. Okay, let me extend this example how we can take the context variable value from a file. Okay, so both the things you can do. You can take the value from a database, you can take the value from a file. I'm creating a CSV file for storing the value. Okay, so let me create this one. Let me create this file. Def context val.txt. What I'll do here, Talend dataset, new text document. Okay, sorry. Oh, no space, nothing. Now save it. The name is save it under C